I have told y'all before that I feel like Elon Musk is kind of getting away with it. He's getting away with entering the US government for a short period of time, engaging in so much destruction, and then going, can I just go back to what I was doing before? And I saw this interview with him. I'm going to show you some new reporting that kind of substantiates what I'm talking about. But first, here's him getting asked, what was your takeaway from DOGE?
What did DOGE teach you if you learned one thing?
Well, it was like a very interesting side quest, because I just got to see like a lot of the workings of the government. There's been quite a few efficiencies. I mean, some of them are very basic efficiencies, like just adding in requirements for federal payments that any given payment must have an assigned congressional payment code and a comment field with something in it that's more than nothing. Like that trivial seeming change, my guess is probably saves $100 billion or even $200 billion a year, because there were massive numbers of payments.
So I'll stop it there. Think about what he just said. What did DOGE teach you? And his response is, it was an interesting side quest. It was an interesting side quest. Let me tell you what that interesting side quest did. Here's a Rolling Stone piece that just came out. The greatest victims of Trump's greatest grift are America's greatest heroes. Wordy, but true. And it talks about how veterans were hit so hard by what DOGE did. But think about how logistically you could go into the government and waste money, but destroy people's lives. How do you do both? Well, DOGE figured it out. DOGE had to be disbanded. Can you guess why DOGE has been disbanded, Jaden?
Because it wasn't efficient?
Because it was cheaper to get rid of DOGE. DOGE was wasting money. DOGE was. And they found a way to go in and remove people from certain bureaucratic positions in a way that, for example, at the IRS, loses us money. Waste product when it comes to food that we were using by cutting the staff before we used all the food. And still, even while it didn't actually make a dent in our debt problem at all, and whatever progress you could have tried to lie about and say happened got crushed by Trump's debt increasing bill, still you found a way to devastate a bunch of people. Veterans, as far as at home, being first and foremost. Donald Trump's administration promised that the so-called Department of Government Efficiency would save America trillions by slashing federal contracts, limiting waste, and shrinking the federal workforce. In reality, we got hack squads of political enforcers who rummaged through government systems, torched veteran-owned business contracts, fired thousands of veterans from federal service, and dismantled Department of Veterans Affairs programs designed to protect both veterans and taxpayers. So it's fitting, if tragic, that DOGE had to itself be dissolved 8 months before its chartered end to save money. And what ended up really happening in some of the different accountability organizations, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that Elon Musk ravaged, was the rich got tons of benefits, or now the likelihood they would be targeted because of fraud went down. But the idea behind we're going to go make the government more efficient is that we as taxpayers will save money. We were going to get, or be given money. We were going to get DOGE checks. What did DOGE teach you, Elon? It was an interesting side quest, and it failed. And we moved past that. It failed. Damaged our veterans most of all. Firing veteran federal employees. VA budget fight. Administration requests a record $435 billion while simultaneously planning to eliminate thousands of positions. Mass exodus of doctors, nurses, and other professionals at the VA. 2,000 staff removed for the Veterans Benefits Administration, etc. Then you look at the DOGE savings. Now that we've had some time of this in the rearview mirror, of the more than $50 billion that DOGE claimed to have saved. So apparently they claimed that they save $50 billion. They were supposed to save $2 trillion. But of the $50 billion they were supposedly saving, only $1.4 billion could be verified. And not a single dollar went back to the Treasury to reduce the deficit. And then Trump's bill added $4 trillion. And then, of course, this one's just absolutely heartbreaking. You have this.
Dr. Atul Gawande, the former head of global health at the United States Agency for International Development, reported in the New Yorker, as of November 5th, it estimated that USAID's dismantling has already caused the deaths of 600,000 people, 2/3 of them children. That's 400,000 children. Dr. Gawande followed the journey of one mother trying to
600,000 people. Because when you cut a bunch of crucial programs that provide food or, very relevant to Americans' health, global medicine, preventing the spread of diseases globally, again, something that even if you don't care about anyone else anywhere else, does become relevant for us because diseases don't see borders. And now people's lives have literally been lost. Bernie Sanders posted, every year since 1988, the United States has recognized World AIDS Day until now under the Trump administration. Why not? Maybe because the Trump administration doesn't want to acknowledge that its foreign aid cuts led to nearly 150,000 deaths from AIDS, according to Boston University researchers. Shameful. And then this is what drives me loco, okay? It is one thing for Elon to do all that. And this is why we're circling back to it. But it is a whole nother thing for the media to just kind of move on. We're talking about thousands of deaths. We're talking about institutions being dismantled illegally, in many cases, without congressional approval. Them not accomplishing the task they were supposed to, but a billionaire going and doing things that benefited billionaires. Making sure organizations that seek to hold them accountable can't. And then this is something that I just have to put some heat on Rogan. Rogan has now, I think, had multiple interviews with Elon since. Definitely during and then even since he left. And it's like Rogan doesn't throw these figures at him. You're sitting down with Elon, one of the most powerful people in the world, and you don't even ask him about the devastation he caused. Trump never gets asked about that stuff anymore. And Trump's still in the government. And instead, they're just giggling and goofing around. This is Elon Musk. This is not your little toddler cousin who you can, let's talk about how Grok says naughty words. Ha ha ha. Maybe not with a toddler, but you get my point. Not your like adolescent cousin who you're just trying to waste away some time at Thanksgiving. You're like, sure, let's talk about how Grok says naughty words. Haha. But that's what Rogan does with Elon. Instead of talking about what we just talked about, look at this.
If you want to have a good time or like make people really laugh at a party, you can use Grok and you can say, do a vulgar roast of someone. And Grok is gonna be an epic vulgar roast. You can even say, like, take a picture of, like, make a vulgar roast of this person based on their appearance of people at the party.
So take a photo of them.
Yeah, just literally point the camera at them and now do a vulgar roast of this person, and then keep saying no, make it even more vulgar. Use forbidden words. Even more, and just keep repeating even more vulgar. Eventually, it's like, holy fuck, it's like, I mean, it's trying to jam a rocket up your ass, like, and have it explode, and it's like it's like it's next level. And
it's getting.
So he says at a party. So let's imagine we're at a party. Hey, this is great. This is such a fun party. Wait, can you turn the music down? Hey, I have a funny joke. Can you turn the music down? All the way, please. Okay. Wait, I have a funny joke, guys. Hi, I'm Luke. I have a funny joke. Wait, guys, look. Check it out. Hi, Grok. Can you be really mean to me and roast me in the most vulgar way possible and use forbidden words?
Oh, you want me to roast you, huh? Fine, let's go.
Guys, watch this.
What, me?
No, I want you to roast me. Really vulgar.
All right, you desperate dipshit, listen up. You're a walking pile of limp dick disappointment, begging for insults because real life already treats you like yesterday's cum rag. Your mom's so proud. She framed your participation trophy from Losers Anonymous.
All right, you can turn the music back on. May I meet you? So they're talking about that was from the bonus show. Click the join button below. They're talking about how naughty the chatbot Grok can be instead of the effect that he had during his time in government. Come on. Of course, you can do whatever you want with your own show. Everyone goes, well, freedom of speech. It's like, what? I'm just saying my advice is maybe when a billionaire gets handed the reins of the government for a while and leads to a bunch of people dying, that could be a question when you interview him. And I didn't watch that whole interview, but even the guy I showed you at the beginning of what did DOGE do? It's like, or what did DOGE teach you? It's like, or you could tell Elon some stats about what DOGE did and have him answer for those. Maybe he did. I don't know. I didn't see the whole interview. And then just this thread of MAGA's convinced that Trump is a warrior for them when he's a warrior for the people like him. The billionaires. Rich folks. And he's now pardoned so many people as long as they're wealthy, white-collar criminals. And his response, like with the Chrisleys, you remember the Chrisleys, was they didn't look like criminals. Or they didn't look like terrorists, actually, Trump said. They didn't look like terrorists because they were blonde and wealthy, I guess. He thought, that's not a... Yeah, there they are. These don't look like terrorists, which is not even what they're accused of, but fraudsters. And so he pardons them. Now we have another example of this type of behavior. This is the best time in America, in American history. I don't know if that's true, but in recent American history, to be a wealthy criminal. Have fun.
The story you may have missed this holiday weekend, President Trump quietly set free a private equity executive who was convicted in a billion-dollar fraud scheme. David Gentile served just a few days of his 7-year sentence before Trump commuted that sentence last week. Now, prosecutors told the judge the victims were hardworking, everyday people. These are not wealthy people. Many of the investors have families to support. Some are single parents. Others are parents to disabled children. My panel is back now. I mean, this is a guy who was convicted of helping run a $1.6 billion scheme, kind of Madoff-esque, and he just was days into that, and the president said no. And I think what's noteworthy here, and we're going to, as we continue this conversation, this is really striking, but he has pardoned or given clemency to so many people without a lot of fanfare or focus.
Right, and this doing it over a holiday weekend, the president didn't announce it. That's not how this came out.
So there's another one. Then you had that person who was accused of like stealing his employees' money or tax. What he was supposed to be paying taxes, and he was taking their money. And just his mom paid a bunch of money to meet with Trump at a dinner, and convinced him to, and then donate a bunch of money to his campaign. And then her son's pardoned. Let's see Levitt's reaction to this.
Go ahead. Sure.
And then in the interest of transparency, does the White House support releasing the Department of Defense's video of those September 2nd strikes on those military boats? And also, separate topic on presidential pardon power. Why did the president commute the sentence of David Gentile recently? He was a private equity executive. He served 12 days out of a 7-year sentence. Prosecutors said he defrauded $1.6 billion with thousands of victims, including veterans, farmers, teachers. Why was he pardoned?
To your first question, that's definitely not a decision for me to make. I would defer you to the Department of War. It's also probably a decision for the president himself to make. As for your second question with respect to that pardon, he issued a commutation for Mr. Gentile, who's the former CEO and co-founder of GBP Capital Holdings. Unlike similar companies, GBP paid regular annualized distributions to its investors. In 2015, GBP disclosed to investors the possibility of using investor capital to pay some of these distributions rather than funding them from current operations. Even though this was disclosed to investors, the Biden Department of Justice claimed it was a Ponzi scheme. This claim was profoundly undercut by the fact that GBP had explicitly told investors what would happen.
Bored. We're going to talk about another one of these. It's always just something Biden. Biden did something wrong. I don't know. Weaponized.
It's Joe Biden.
We're going to get that with the former Honduran president who was in prison for drug trafficking in the U.S. He's in the U.S. and had been extradited and was apparently a victim of the Biden weaponization. So we'll get to that a little bit later. You remember when Biden just really had to weaponize the government against the former Honduran president? Something Orlando Hernandez. Juan Orlando Hernandez. I remember Biden really had it out for Juan Orlando Hernandez. It was one of his it was get Trump, get the Chrisleys, and get Juan.